Hey everyone, it's been a second since I made a Sylph tournament video, but here it is. It's my run in the Brawler Cup, which is a November month for season 4 of Sylph, I believe. Yeah, we season 4. Yeah, season 4. I wasn't able to make a video for October just because my tournaments ended kind of late, so the video probably wouldn't have been as useful, but there's still some time left in this month if you're looking for a team, and I got a really bulky team. Even though there's different weight classes for the meta, there's actually a lot of bulk in pretty much all the tiers, so I'm going to kind of talk about my team as we go through these battles and why I chose the team that I did. Before I get into the footage, a big shout out and thank you to all my patrons who've been supporting my content creation. If you would also like to have early access to some of my strategies and lineups, feel free to sign up in the link down below. All right, so looking at my first opponent here, so you can look at the different slots I chose. I have a Wormadam, Sableye, Diggersby, Heracross, Tropius, and Lapras. You got really bulky mons in Tropius, Lapras, Diggersby, and Wormadam. Even Sableye is fairly bulky for a ghost type. My opponent here does bring out the Rainy Castform, which is definitely pretty solid against my entire team, but does end up shielding, and I'm not too worried here because Lapras actually does quite well against Rainy Castform. As long as you shield the Thunder, they were baiting me, but I do have another Surf ready, so able to grab both shields here and finish it off. Now they come in with their Dragalge here. Lapras is really strong against most of this team. It's got play against Raining Cast with shields up, and pretty much the only thing it really needs to worry about is Obstagoon. Wigglytuff with shields can be a little bit of an issue, but I figured that's kind of why I had the Diggersby and the Lapras in back, so that one of them would bait out Obstagoon if they had it. And my opponent obviously didn't have it, otherwise they would have brought into Lapras early, which is why I pivoted out, because I figured whatever's in the back is even weaker to Lapras. And so I do come with Lapras. I actually go for a Skull Bash here. That's kind of a misplay. I should have gone for Surf. That was definitely overkill. And I'm just making this game a little bit harder than it needs to be, but it would still finish off with the Wormadam. This team is really solid against opposing grass, maybe a little overkill in my opinion. It does have probably what is that, 3 weaknesses to fire, arguably even more than that, because depending on what the fire is, yeah, there's not a ton of play, but there aren't a lot of fire in the meta. We are going to see some probably later down the road as well, but yeah, my opponent does bring out the Obstagoon there. Again, I have the Diggersby in this lineup, super bulky. Even taking super effective weather balls is not a problem. It can do quite a bit of damage with that Earthquake. And then I'm going to just let this weather ball go. They do throw it at a good opportunity, so I couldn't get my charge move off. And then I'm going to come in with the Tropius to try to finish this Rainy Cast off. And then now they come in with Dragalge, and this is a very nice matchup for Wormadam, able to really clean it up. I think of that first slot, a lot of people tend to pick Charmers or Rainy Cast, Jirachi, or Wormadam Trash. I personally like Wormadam Trash a lot more than Jirachi, which has pretty much the same typing, because you do have that Bug Buzz for Darks. So I'm going to just showcase whatever footage is relevant. So I won the first 2, so I'm going to just skip the third match. It is a best of 3. Of course, we do play 3 battles, but just to kind of cut down video footage, that's the go-to. That's what I'm going to do. So against opponent number 2, this one does have a Clefable in the back, and makes my safe swap Sableye pretty weak. This is a really rough lead. Again, so like I said, fires are a little bit tough for this team. I do run into a Mawile, very strong. You resist the Ice Shards here too. Yeah, I don't have a ton of play. Resist all the dark damage from Sableye and return as well, so you only do damage really with Shadow Claw. But they do have a Dewgong in the back, so I'm not hard counter throughout, just hard counter the lead and counter swap. But we do have some play here. Lapras really strong versus Dewgong. Dewgong just doesn't have anything that it can throw effectively at Lapras, whereas Lapras does have that hard-hitting Skull Bash. Yeah, but the reason why I picked a really bulky team is because, especially in Sylph Cups, a lot of times in limited metas, you don't have the traditional really bulky mons like Azu, Bastion, G-Fist, stuff like that. So anytime you could get Pokemon with a lot of bulk means that you're not only outbulking most, like the standard meta, you might be outbulking most of the meta, because Sylph metas are a lot more limited, so overall the bulk of the mons will be a little bit lower. right? Because a lot of the really bulky mons, high stat product mons, they're the high ranked ones that are probably banned in these kind of cups. So you can't play Azu, you can't play G-Fist, you can't play Metacham, right? So these are really bulky mons of those types, but you pick up bulky mons that are remaining in the meta, you can have a lot of flexibility. All right, so I do swap here to this Clefable, which is not ideal, and able to Shadow Claw it down though, which is quite nice. And then I am going to go for double foul plays. Probably a little nervous that I under-shielded here because I didn't end up shielding anything. Might die with shields. But able to get to these 2 foul plays and still finish them off. Despite need to kind of finish off a Charmer with the Sableye and Heracross there. Alright, so 2-0 so far. Going into our third opponent here. This one is running a Pelipper, which is actually fairly strong against my team. It's very strong against Diggersby. Not terrible against Sableye, not terrible against Wormadam, to be honest. You're doing neutral throughout. Wormadam is doing resisted damage, actually, with the charge moves. Really solid against Heracross. Has play against Tropius. It's really only losing matchup is Lapras. So, definitely had to bring Lapras into every single one of these battles for sure. Was able to flip that, though, by landing the return. Realized that once I was doing a scrim with a teammate once that, yeah, if you land the return, you could really Shadow Claw down there. And then now they come in and I get the alignment I want. So winning switch there was absolutely huge. Diggersby has pretty much no play against Pelipper, so they resist everything that I throw. Unless I had Hyper Beam, which I do not. And but now we're in a really good spot here. Yeah. Going to go straight for that Earthquake. And I still have the Lapras here. Switch Timer is about to come up. So I don't really mind this at all. I'm glad they took me out here. They can't really farm my Diggersby. I get an Ice Shard worth of energy on the Sableye and able to finish off the Pelipper there. So now I get the alignment I want, which is really nice. I don't have strong checks to the Sableye in the back. So what I'm going to do is drop a Surf and then swap to my own Sableye. Now, as long as I match shields here, I'll be fine. I am up a shield as well. So that actually puts me in a good spot. Because they are ahead of energy, but because I have 2 shields, I can still take out their Sableye. They come in with Drapion here, which is interesting. So, revealing their third Pokemon early, but I don't mind that at all because Heracross should be able to handle that quite well, and then they let it go. Here comes the Pelipper here. They do get to move, so I'm going to shield. Probably just a bait, which it is, but that's fine. I'm going to go double Surf here. It's probably the safer play in case they shield. Skullbash is kind of a more risky play. I don't know what's going on. Sorry, my neighbors upstairs are causing some ruckus. If the ceiling falls down in the middle of this video recording, you know why. Alright, anyway, so able to finish them off there with the proper alignment. So, 3-0 so far. Going into our 4th battle, I do end up leading into a Charm lead, which is actually pretty brutal. And then I get counter swapped on by Lapras, which is also kind of tough. This is also a regular Lapras, so it is actually a little bit harder to deal with. I do try to go for double Earthquake. I probably could have baited the Fire Punch there. But, yeah, at this point, I'm going to just let it go. Yeah, I don't get to a second Fire Punch anyway, so it wouldn't have flipped the matchup even if I baited with a Fire Punch. So at this point, I'm going to just farm as much as I could here. And I do make a catch onto my own Lapras, which should help a little bit, having that return banked for that Slurpuff. Slurpuff, sorry. I haven't said that Pokemon's name in a long time. I mispronounced it. But yeah, the Slurpuff. And able to get to these double Surfs here is enough to take out the Sableye. Unfortunately not. That would have been nice if it did. I am going to try to drop this return on this Slurpuff, see if it survives it. And yeah, let's see how bulky this thing is. I don't know the matchup super well, but unfortunately not enough to one-shot and getting Charm down there. So super tough lead, super tough counter swap, more neutral on the back end. All right. We are going into a Lapras Mirror here. I don't really know who's going to win CMP here. My Lapras is fairly highly ranked. And that's going to cost me here. Because they are going to get that Skull Bash first. I could have potentially gone for a bait here. But they don't shield. So actually that kind of works out. Let's see though what they have in the back. So I do swap here because I was a little scared of the Ho-Oh. I do catch a Skull Bash, which is absolutely huge. And then now they come in with their Sableye here. Yeah, if they had a Ho in the back, I would have been in a really bad spot had I let that Lapras go. I do get a defense drop here, and then now I'm going to come in with my Lapras, which has a lot of energy here. See what happens, and they do shield once, and then come in with the Tropius, and able to catch on the Tropius as well. So let's see, is that Ho in the back, and here comes the Lapras here. They're going to throw just a Surf, so no need to shield this. I do get this move off, but I'm a little worried that if it's not a Ho, I might be in kind of a tough spot, depending on what they have in the back. And they come back in with the Sableye to get a decent chunk of energy, which is a smart play, because Sableye with energy is actually very strong against most things. We're going to farm a little extra and then drop this Surf. And yeah, unfortunately, I get hit by another foul play. This is awful. I really need a Ho to be here at this point, but I have to throw this move, otherwise I lose. Oh no, it's a Slurpuff, yeah. So we do lose that match, and we are now 3-1 at the moment. Going against another team, another Slurpuff. This time around, I knew better to bring my Sableye here, so I'm not going to bring the Sableye. See what happens. They also have a Vigoroth, which is not the most fun matchup for Sableye. But yeah, and then able to drop a Skull Bash there. A lot of people aren't shielding these Skull Bashes, which is kind of interesting. And then going against this Kofa here, able to drop these Surfs. To put it quite low. They're going to overfarm quite a bit. So I'm going to let this go because even though they can't double up on Shadow Balls, yeah, it's just not worth it because they probably get to another one. And here comes the other Shadow Ball. I do finish it off. And here comes the Lapras here. I do have a Wormadam. And Wormadam is actually quite good against this team as long as that Cofagrigus is taken out of the way. And here comes the Slurpuff. So, like our practice from the last round, a lot of people like their Charmers, so this time around I made sure not to bring anything weak to Charm. It's actually a pretty solid pick for my team because I am weak to it with Sableye, I'm weak to it with Heracross, and it has neutral matchup against everything else except for Wormadam. So as long as they avoid the Wormadam, they're fine, but unfortunately they were not able to avoid it in the end there. Alright, here comes the Vigoroth. This is actually not terrible. We're both doing neutral damage here. This is probably Bulldoze, and it is, so I'm going to shield it. And now I'm going to go straight for the Iron Head. They probably go shield this, which is why I decided to go for the Iron Head instead of the Bug Buzz. And also, at their health range, these confusions are really adding up. I'm going to go for another Iron Head. I doubt they shield it, but it's enough to KO. Wormadam Trash, super bulky Pokemon. And then here comes a Cofagrigus. So I'm coming in with my Sableye here. This is going to be a Shadow Ball. It's going to hurt a decent amount for neutral, but I don't really want to burn my shield in case they have a Lapras in the back. So I'm going to throw this Foul Play here, and let's see what they have in the back. And it is a Lapras. So, yeah, this could be tricky. Kind of a bait-dependent matchup here. I am going to shield, and it's going to be a Surf. And let's see what they do here. And they shield is also Surf. All right, so it's going to be kind of interesting here. They do have energy lead, so they're going to hit me with Skull Bash. I'm going to try to return a Skull Bash, and yeah, not going to do as much damage because they are buffed up. They are also non-shadow. I'm going to throw this Surf here and try to just burn the energy on the Sableye, and I was able to snipe it down with a Shadow Claw. So able to win that one. We're currently 4-1 going into the last and sixth and final round here. There's a Greedent on this team. Kind of interesting. Haven't seen one of those, especially in that number 1 slot. They do have a Shadow Gramble, so have to kind of watch out for that potential Charmer, which is why, again, I didn't bring in the Sableye, because I learned my lesson from my loss. If they don't see the Sableye in the first match, maybe they won't feel like they need to bring the Gramble later. All right, here comes a Greedent here. Greedent is actually, it's not bad against Lapras, but it's not as good against Wormadam Trash because you're doing super resisted Bullet Seeds, and they also didn't get debuff here, which is nice. They also can't really throw Body Slam here because of resistance, so they have to go for the more energy intensive non-stab Crunch. And yeah, so that's going to just take a while. Alright, so got a little extra farm on this Wormadam, and here comes a Drapion. So this is where, again, the Wormadam is nice. You do have the Bug moves, so Dark types. Jirachi does have Steel moves, so that's actually not a bad replacement because that's still doing a decent chunk for neutral as well. The Bug Buzz is much better against things like Obstagoon, but we haven't really seen a lot of Obstagoon. I think things that take Bug moves for neutral, such as the Dark Poisons, or Sableye, you know, it's not too bad. But yeah, able to finish off that first one. Again, Shadow Lapras coming in really clutch. I brought it into most of these matches. Not all of them, most of them though. Alright, able to grab out this Sableye here. Heracross, really solid against this team actually. I just didn't really realize it the first time around. Its main losses are Dragonite and Granbull. It has some play against Sableye even too, because those counters really start adding up. Yeah, close combat does a good chunk too. All right, so able to get this Greedent on my Lapras here, coming back in with the Heracross. This Body Slam is going to do a good chunk, but not enough. And I'm going to go for a close combat here. Gets shielded, and here comes the Wormadam Trash again. Go for that neutral Bug Buzz. These Poison Stings are resisted as well, so it's not terrible for Wormadam, even though the Confusions are resisted. See how much damage this does. A good chunk of damage. Alright, and then I'm going to finally shield here. I wanted to save my shield towards the end, because if I got debuffed by any of the crunches, that last and final crunch will hurt a lot more. I do swap aggressively to my Heracross to force him to throw the energy, and this is probably just a Body Slam, and it is. So able to finish off this Drapion with this energy banked, and finishing off the tournament 5-1. Shout out to For the Carrot for the sweep in this tournament, my only loss as well, so it's cool to lose to the eventual winner of the tournament, and a big shout out to SLS for hosting this tournament as well. If you're still looking for a team for Brawler Cup, hopefully this is one that might have some use. I will say that if you were to replace anything here, you could replace the Wormadam with Jirachi. You could replace the Sableye probably with Whiscash for a little better fire coverage. Diggersby is kind of a little bit more unique, as well as Heracross. I think there might be a Hitmonchan available in that same weight class if you want to use that instead. Tropius is super unique, so I would look for some type of grass coverage that potentially could beat fighters. So maybe like a poison grass type if there are one in that slot. And the Lapras, super unique, so kind of need that one. It doesn't have to be Shadow though, I just personally prefer it, but a regular Lapras will do quite fine as well. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you like it, feel free to give it a like and share, subscribe for future content, hit that notification bell to get alerted right when I post a new video, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye.